Welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to unpack a story that honestly sounds almost too absurd to be true. We're looking at how a desperate, literal, last-minute idea to rent out an air mattress on a living room floor catalyzed an entirely new macroeconomic sector. It's a masterclass in how pure necessity, combined with just a little bit of hustle, can completely rewrite the rules of global business. So let's dive right into this incredible innovator's journey. How exactly did a bizarre, scrappy experiment spark such a massive economic shift? We aren't just talking about the creation of a single successful company here. We're talking about the genesis of the entire shared economy. It's a genuinely fascinating look at how a seemingly micro-level solution to a very personal cash flow problem accidentally unleashed a macro-level disruption. And it all started with just $80. Literally. That's it. That was the extremely modest price charged for the very first air mattress rental in a cramped San Francisco living room. The founders couldn't afford their rent, a major design conference was coming to town, and every single local hotel was booked solid. So they bought a few airbeds, threw together a super basic website, and charged $80 a night for a place to sleep, and some Pop-Tarts in the morning. It was survival mode, pure and simple. Now, to put that into perspective, this brilliantly illustrates the explosive power of scale. We're talking about jumping from that tiny $80 sum to a billion-dollar-plus consumer cyclical valuation. It is just staggering to think about. By taking that initial hyper-local concept and applying the incredible leverage of the internet, that single living room transaction multiplied into millions of stays across the globe. They basically transformed a quick buck into an absolute financial juggernaut. Section 1. The Air Mattress Epiphany. Let's map this out. First, we have the problem: high rent and sold-out commercial hotels. In economic terms, this represented a massive inefficiency in the market. Demand for lodging spiked, but the rigid traditional supply just couldn't adapt fast enough. Next came the hustle, with the founders stepping in to fill that gap using the resources they already had, literally just floor space. But that final stage is where the magic actually happens, the birth of peer-to-peer lodging. They realized, hey, we aren't just solving our own rent problem, we've stumbled onto a highly scalable framework. Anyone, anywhere could act as a micro-hotel if they just had the right platform connecting them with travelers. Section 2. Defining the shared economy. So what does this actually mean? Well, the foundation of this shared economy model relies entirely on one key phrase: underutilized spaces. That is absolutely the secret sauce here. Think about it. Before this, an empty spare bedroom was just dead space. It generated zero economic value. But in a shared economy, that exact same space suddenly becomes an active, monetizable asset. The platform simply acts as the matchmaker, unlocking the hidden economic potential of things everyday people already own. It's a complete paradigm shift. Traditional hospitality relies on heavily centralized assets. You have to buy land, build massive hotels, and hire huge staffs before you make a single dime. But this shared economy model, it's completely decentralized and asset-light. The company itself doesn't own the real estate, the peers do. And this allowed for a pace of scaling that traditional corporate hospitality simply could not match, literally rewriting the economic rules of the travel industry almost overnight. Section 3. Hacking trust with strangers. Of course, building a booking website was actually the easy part. The truly hard part was psychological. I mean, how do you get a normal person to let an absolute stranger from the internet sleep in their home? To solve this massive psychological hurdle, they implemented a few absolutely crucial steps. First, two-way peer reviews meant both hosts and guests were publicly held accountable. Second, verifying identities through official IDs added a mandatory layer of security. And third, they actively fostered a loyal, engaged community through things like high-quality photography and localized support. They successfully turned what seemed like a bizarre, risky internet transaction into a highly reliable, self-policing global community. In a way, trust became their true product. Section 4. A billion-dollar consumer cyclical. Now, in financial terms, a consumer cyclical business is a market sector, like travel and leisure, that heavily depends on the broader business cycle and overall economic health. Basically, it rises and falls with the economy. When people have disposable income, they travel, and companies in this sector boom. But by essentially creating millions of new travel destinations out of thin air and making travel far more localized and often more affordable, this shared economy model actually expanded the boundaries of the consumer cyclical sector itself. It brought in travelers who might have otherwise just stayed home. The trajectory here is just breathtaking. That tiny microscopic blip of initial living room revenue exploded into a massive billion-dollar sector valuation. This wasn't just one company growing. This was an entire economic classification expanding.
They prove that if you can reduce the friction of a transaction, if you can essentially engineer trust at a global scale, you can turn the entire world into a marketplace. This peer-to-peer market share swallowed up a massive chunk of traditional travel spending, cementing the shared economy as a permanent pillar of modern commerce.
Section 5. Subscribe and join us. You know, understanding the hidden mechanics behind these massive market shifts gives you an incredible edge. So if you want to keep decoding these complex economic stories with us, please subscribe and follow the channel for more content like this. We absolutely love putting these explainers together for you, and having you as part of our community is what makes it all possible. I want to leave you with this somewhat provocative final thought. The shared economy was born from a desperate moment and an air mattress. The next massive market disruption, it's probably being hacked together right now in a cramped room somewhere, solving a problem we all just accept as normal. The question is, are you ready to keep your eyes open and decode the next billion-dollar idea with us? Thanks for learning with me today, and I'll see you in the next explainer.